Okay, so let's talk about something I think pretty much everyone has felt at some point. Remember being a kid and that, I don't know, that background hum of just feeling good? It wasn't about anything in particular, it was just there. And now, as an adult, it feels like it's gone. That's what we're digging into today.
Right? Where did it go? And the usual answers, oh, it's stress, or you have responsibilities now. They don't quite cut it, do they? They feel like they're missing the point. They don't explain the actual reason why that specific feeling is so hard to find now. So let's look at a theory that has a really interesting and kind of surprising answer.
So first things first, we need a better word for this feeling than just childhood joy. The source material for this explainer calls this very specific state ease. And here's the absolute key. Ease isn't about adding a good feeling, it's about the temporary absence of our usual mental chatter. So what is ease, really? Well, imagine you have these little managers running around in your brain all day. They're constantly checking in. Am I doing this right? How am I feeling right now? What's the goal? Ease is what happens when all those little managers just simultaneously decide to go on a coffee break. It's a state you fall into, not one you create. This slide really gets to the heart of it. We need to flip our thinking. Look over there in box A. That's how we normally think about this stuff. Moods, rewards, the usual suspects. But the big idea here is in box B. It's telling us to stop looking at what we're feeling and instead look at what our brain stops doing. The magic ingredient is the suspension of all that mental self-management. And this just nails the subjective feeling, doesn't it? Ease feels like a gift. It just shows up. It's not something you earn or build. And that's exactly why trying to recapture it feels so impossible. The very act of trying is the opposite of what makes it happen.
Which leads us directly to the villain of our story, the thing that actively stops us from feeling ease as we get older. The source material calls this trap capture.
This is the great paradox. You know the moment you're just doing something and for a split second you feel that little flicker of ease and your brain goes, "Oh, this is it. This feels good. How do I keep this going?" And boom, gone. That's capture. It's the moment your mind turns the feeling into a project and the feeling just evaporates.
This image shows the two modes perfectly. On the left, you've got what the source calls affective quietude. Think of it as a kid's brain. An experience happens and a feeling happens. That's it. Simple. But now look at the right. That's us in evaluative adulthood. Everything has to pass through this endless loop of self-checking and analysis. The kid's experience just is. The adult's experience is constantly being managed and graded. Okay, so why? Why do we get stuck in this loop as we age? This is where the theory introduces its most powerful idea. There's a hidden variable that's driving all of this, and it's called Z.
Let's unpack this, because Z is the engine for this whole thing. The easiest way to think about Z is as the total weight of your life experience. Every single thing you've learned, every pattern you've recognized, every cause and effect connection your brain has made, it all adds up, creating this incredibly dense, complex map of the world in your head.
And this comparison is so important. A child is Z-low. Their mental map is still sparse. The world is new, it's unpredictable, it's structurally open. But an adult, we're Z-high. Our brain pre-sorts everything based on what we already know. We trade that wide-eyed openness for predictive power, which is useful, but the price we pay is that we lose the very structural gaps where ease used to live.
And wow, this graph from the source material just lays it all out. Just focus on chart D. That horizontal line at the bottom, that's the Z variable. That's your life experience piling up as you get older. And the vertical line shows your opportunity to access ease. See how the curve just drops and drops? It's showing us a direct trade-off. The more we learn about the world, the smaller the doorway to that effortless feeling becomes.
Now, we have to be super clear about something. I know what you might be thinking. Okay, I get it. This is just another name for being in the zone, for flow, or for being really, really relaxed. But it's not. The theory is very specific, that ease is something else entirely.
The authors even put up this quote as what they call a guardrail. They're basically saying, hey, don't confuse this with these other things you already know. The core idea is that ease is unique because it collapses the moment you try to use it for something, and that makes it fundamentally different.
Let's just run through this table because the distinctions are crucial. Let's start with goals. Is it goal-directed? Well, flow absolutely is. You're deeply focused on a task. And relaxation? I mean, how many times have you said, "I'm trying to relax"? That's a goal. But ease?
The moment it becomes a goal, it self-destructs. Its main feature isn't intense concentration, it's the complete absence of self-monitoring. It's not vulnerable to distraction, it's vulnerable to self-evaluation. It's truly its own thing.
So what does this all mean? Where does this leave us? Well, it reframes the whole problem in a way that I find really powerful. It stops being a sad story about something we've lost, and it becomes a story about how our brains have changed. And this is the punchline. It's not that we, as adults, have lost our ability to feel this kind of joy. The hardware is still there. The problem is that our highly developed Z-high brains have gotten so good at explaining and predicting everything that we capture the feeling before it even has a chance to breathe. We grab it, we analyze it, and we kill it without even realizing.
And that leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. What if we're not missing joy at all? What if we're just over-explaining it? Maybe the path back isn't about trying to feel more, but about finding moments where we can manage to understand a little bit less.